Okay, so we are going to talk about
The
basically
new trailer for Breath of the Wild, which is actually technically a sequel to Twilight Princess.
and we'll go over that and some other stuff that we saw.
Like, I'm sort of trying to try to look like a boy challenge. I think I'm failing at it.
Yeah.
This is too long, but I don't want it to be cut. After all, you saw what the hairstylist did.
Yeah, but
Too short.
we're also going to go over some other games we heard at E3. We're hoping we can get through this as a severe thunderstorm just entered. But first, let's start
with the trailer.
with Breath of the Wild. So, this one, as many of you know, we do unscripted. We just write down some ideas, but this time, we're going to be having the video, we're going to be watching the video, and then during the editing, I'll put it up. That way they can see what we're talking about. So, let's start with what everyone was shocked at.
Yeah, it's not even at the beginning.
It was, yeah, it is. But this is no one expected this. So this was kind of Nintendo shock.
Yeah, because the Ganon you were fighting was not the Ganon.
Well,
it was
let's
reincarnation
talk about
whatever.
Let's go through it. So this isn't confirmed. This is just as we've been watching the trailer over and over. We've kind of noticed some things, and we think we can place now Breath of the Wild in the Zelda timeline and how this one fits in. So it starts off with the swirly green lines, and
which is actually some writing.
Yeah, you don't really realize it until you start to see them form shapes. If you go through some of the history of Hyrule, those shapes are actually Gerudo text.
That means seal.
Yeah, it's seal. It says seal, and it says Ganon. So you also hear a faint heartbeat. It's really slow, as if something is not quite dead. Monty Python reference. But he's still alive. So these swirls are really, really important. So you start to see him form these swirls, and then you start to see this hand resting on Ganon with where the swirls are emanating, and then that dark malice coming out. And as you get closer, you'll start to see now Link and Zelda. So, real quick, they're under Hyrule Castle. They're really, really deep under Hyrule Castle.
You should see a painting at this point where we've stopped it, or a mural thing, with Ganon and a trident.
Mm-hmm.
That's from one of the past ones that I do not remember.
Ocarina of Time.
I knew it!
Phantom Ganon used a trident, and actually in Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Link to the Past, he uses a trident when he's in that beast form.
More like that thing you get in Breath of the Wild from defeating Garuda.
Yes. You also... So, you close in on the swirling text, you see the malice.
You see the luminous stone, which represents the dead souls.
Yeah, if you read in Breath of the Wild what luminous stone means, they think the light is the...
I'm right, she did cut her hair. Zelda did cut her hair.
She does have short hair. But
Pixel said she didn't.
The light is supposed to represent the souls of the dead. That's what it actually says in Breath of the Wild when you highlight luminous stone. So Link and Zelda get closer and closer.
And the music you should be hearing is the death music of one of the past ones.
Yeah, if you really listen to it, it's actually the game over screen of the original Zelda for NES.
The mouse, whatever that is.
And then you have Malice
stronger.
just go crazy, taking over a rat. You see him on a bridge with a mine cart.
Mouse?
Well, whatever. So they're on a bridge that has a mine cart, a track, lots of luminous stone. Now, luminous stone in Breath of the Wild is hard to find, but yet in this area,
in Breath of the
Wild is hard to find. But in this cave, it's all over the place. That's probably important. So, all of a sudden, Zelda knows what she's looking at. Ganon appears in Thunder Hit. So
Yes,
there's a
I
symbol.
meant to say Legend of Castlevania.
No, not doing that. There's a. You see that? So there's a symbol right below Ganon. That symbol is actually a Gerudo symbol.
Question, why
That
is he naked?
hand. Now, here's the important thing.
Question, why is he naked?
He's just dead. You see, he's got clothes. You can see his clothes. But that hand is important. That hand happens to be...
The hand of the person who
No. That hand is positioned exactly where in Twilight Princess the sage stabbed him with the sword and where Link stabbed him with the Master Sword. And that's where the malice is emanating. That hand looks like a sage hand with the gold.
From the sage that died.
Possibly. That crown that he's wearing is actually the crown he wears in Twilight Princess with the
Shut up, Thunder!
with the glowing stone.
Why can't I get it right?
Okay, a lot of things just happened there. The glowing stuff.
Legend of Castlevania?
The glowing stuff reacted to Link. That's when Link came by, that glowing either left Ganon and stopped the seal and attached itself to Link. That's what it somewhat looks like, and then you see a close-up of a dungeon, which was always missing in Breath of the Wild. I wasn't crazy about the dungeons. So hopefully this means in Breath of the Wild 2,
Legend of Castlevania.
the dungeons come back.
Dang it.
So,
Legend of Castlevania. So you might have just seen that big thing of whatever.
there's a flash on the screen in the background
Legend
that
Castlevania?
shows Ganon going backwards and this clawed hand that actually, from what I see, resembles Demise from Skyward Sword.
That you do not like.
I'm not a big fan of Skyward Sword.
I love it because you can fly around. I don't actually do any
So
fights.
now,
Even though I am far.
Ganon is starting to move. His body's starting to move. Possibly because that green writing, which actually looks like something from the Twilight Realm, reacted to Link and is in Link's hand now instead of containing Ganon. So now, here's the important part.
You all remember how in Twilight Princess, Zant snapped Ganon's neck?
So, when you beat
Why am I
Ganon,
saying this all Western?
I don't know. When you beat Ganon, and the he's been stabbed with the Master Sword, he doesn't die because he's got a link to Zant still. But then Zant snaps his neck, which makes Ganon break the link, and Ganon's neck is snapped. But here, all of a sudden, his neck snaps back into place, and he comes alive.
With the eyes of... Hold on.
Now, what did those eyes look like?
The eyes on the things you had to shoot to get the blackish stuff away.
The evil eyes.
And also the eye of Sauron.
And
Lord of the Rings reference.
Now, it shows a close-up or a faraway shot of Breath of the Wild landscape with the castle.
Ganon's tower is underneath it.
Well, you see this smoke arise, and you actually start to see Hyrule Castle rise. So what I think is happening is Ganon's castle that's underneath the Hyrule Castle is
and now you
raising
hear
up.
a normal heartbeat as the writing goes away.
Well, and the writing probably says something else. I haven't deciphered this yet. But, yeah, the heartbeat's a normal heartbeat, which signifies Ganon's alive. So,
I can't punch anything.
now, what does that mean in Breath of the Wild?
Ganon's alive!
What I think is you never, ever faced Ganon in Breath of the Wild. Calamity Ganon was actually an incarnation of Ganon.
That's what I meant to say, incarnation.
He was able to create all those Blight Ganons, just like he did Phantom Ganon in Wind Waker and in Ocarina of Time. You were actually facing the malice of Ganon, and now you're going to face Ganon, because he's back. The sages locked him way down into that cave, and hoping, I'm guessing, that no one would find him. But if someone happened to find him, that's why they had all the hieroglyphics there. So, that's what I think Breath of the Wild 2 is about. Ganon's coming back in his true form now, and that Breath of the Wild is actually 100 years after, would be more than 100 years after Twilight Princess. So I put Breath of the Wild in the timeline under Twilight Princess, and then Breath of the Wild 2 is probably a few years after Breath of the Wild 1. So, is this true? Is this what they're going to do? Who knows? But this is what we've come up with after looking through the trailer over and over. So,
hey, I only looked through it twice.
That's what our take of Breath of the Wild 2. Still the biggest. Xbox thought they had the biggest reveal with Keanu Reeves there, and then Xbox Scarlet, to be honest, we all knew Xbox and PlayStation was going to have a new console for next year. But this, there was no hint whatsoever. This made Nintendo win E3. A shame that Sony decided not to take part, but Nintendo, for the second year in a row, I say, won E3. So, that's our take of Breath of the Wild. Now we're going to take a look at some other games that we feel really made E3 exciting. So the one game I knew they were going to talk about that I was very happy to see was Luigi's Mansion 3. I love the Luigi's Mansion series. It was the first game I ever played on GameCube. I play that one constantly. I just love it so much. Still playing through Luigi's Mansion 2. I haven't beaten it yet because I've been doing other things like Detective Pikachu and all that stuff. But I like what they did with Luigi's Mansion 3. The portrait ghosts are back, which is nice. Multiplayer.
Which is bad.
Huge amount.
I don't know how to deal with those.
Well, huge amount of multiplayers. Because in the Scare Scraper, you can have up to 8 players playing, but in the game itself, you can have the second player play as Luigi, which is a neat
basically
addition.
Jello version.
Yes, he can go through spikes. He can.
Jello can't go through spikes without getting
Well,
bit.
he can go through spikes. He can go through bars. The only thing is, water dissolves him. That's why water dissolves him.
Except slime can upstand water.
Well, and your Poltergust has new abilities. It can release...
Can Luigi jump?
Yes, but
Good.
you can release a lot of air pressure to jump. You can... And that will scare ghosts around you and push them back. You can shoot the nozzle now at ghosts. You can whip the ghosts around for added damage. So Luigi's Mansion 3, I'm really, really excited about. Available probably the end of 2019.
No.
Into 2019. Leave Hermione alone. The thunderstorm's scaring her. So she'll probably tear you to shreds. So this is definitely one that's hot on our radars. What do you think about Luigi's Mansion 3?
Cool.
You looking forward to it?
Yeah.
Now you've played Luigi's Mansion 2, right? Yes or no? What do you think this is going to be better than Luigi's Mansion 2, or
Yeah,
what?
Especially if you do this face.
Now, many people noticed that they mentioned nothing for Nintendo 3DS. We're pretty sure that Nintendo is dropping the 3DS.
It's dying.
So, I would recommend if there's any 3DS games that you want, or any of the 3DS consoles that you're interested
2
in,
years it's gone.
you need to get them. Because they're going to drop in price, but then they're going to skyrocket. So, this is the time to buy 3DS stuff. Because this time
A
next
new
year, I don't
3DS
see
for
3DS. Nintendo will officially kill it, probably. Because they've already announced Detective Pikachu 2 will be on the Switch. It will not be on the 3DS. Pokemon Sword and Shield, Nintendo Switch, not 3DS. So they definitely moved away from the 3DS. So, Luigi's Mansion 3,
See, she's not telling me to
definitely
shred.
hot on my radar.
What a place.
Okay, so the next thing they debuted was a shock to me. The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics.
Looks sort of like a chess.
Well, it's an RPG. I grew up with the Dark Crystal. It's one of my favorite Jim Henson movies. I did not know. Apparently, they're doing something on Netflix with Dark Crystal, bringing it back. But this was really neat to see. So I'm really excited about seeing the Dark Crystal on Switch. They didn't really give us a date, except that it's sometime 2019. Now, good chance of that.
2019.
Well, good chance of that could be bumped to 2020, but I think you're going to see a lot of these things like Luigi's Mansion 3, Dark Crystal come around Christmas time. That's because this is perfect Christmas stuff. So, Dark Crystal definitely one to watch out for. Okay, so they actually announced. They showed 3 Zeldas at E3. We saw Breath of the Wild 2.
A Link Awakening.
The
that
next
he
one was
doesn't like.
the next was Link's Awakening for Switch. I loved the original Link's Awakening and Link's Awakening DX on the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. Not the biggest fan of the graphic style they went with, but
I like it.
some of the additions they made were neat. The
Like the Yoshi's egg on the mountain.
well, that's the Windfish.
Yoshi's egg.
Yoshi actually is in the game. He's a prize to start a huge trading sequence.
Okay, I'm gonna trade him out for a cow.
He's actually one of the first things you trade, and you get a bow once you hand him over. But I like the dungeon creator that they
Let me
added.
guess, you're not gonna hand him over.
Yeah, because
I'm-
you need the trading sequence. That's very important in the game.
Do you get another Yoshi?
No,
Darn it.
but so it does have something funny. You can actually, this is the game that if you do things right, you can actually steal items. But if you do, there is a punishment through the rest of the game. Even at the ending scene, it'll call you a thief. It won't say your name, it'll say thieves. So instead of congratulations Link, it'll say congratulations thief. So be careful if you go that route. But Link's Awakening, there is a special edition. The Europe special edition looks really good. I hope that they do that for North America, because the Europe one has a steel case that looks like a Game Boy. It has a book. It has a bunch of stuff.
I
Whereas,
hope they do the same for every state.
well, for North
Except
America,
for China.
China's not a state; it's a country.
I don't care. Everything's made in China. I'm sick of it.
But with
Hey, rocket!
the North American, all it comes
Can
with
I
is
launch
book.
the rocket?
No.
Darn it.
So Link's Awakening,
I want to blow
September
up China.
September 20th, 2019. Definitely one that is another one that we'll keep an eye out for.
Even there's older rocket.
Okay, so the other thing I was happy to see,
I was kidding about the nuke in China and blowing up China, but
Contra's
it was
coming
a
back.
game thing I wanted to do.
So Contra's
I
coming
just
back.
wanted to nuke someplace that I couldn't think of anywhere, so I decided to say the place that most things are made in.
Okay. Contra, September 24th, 2019. Happy to see the Contra's coming back. The Contra Anniversary Collection's already out. I already downloaded it. It's very, very good. You get the arcade versions, you get the Japanese versions, you get the North American versions, you get the Sega Genesis, you get the Nintendos, you get all of the different versions. So I'm hoping that they keep the Contra tradition, spread gun, all that fun stuff. So Contra, September 24th, definitely one that I'm looking forward to. I know you're not the biggest on Contra, but
I'm the biggest on cheating in Contra.
do you remember the code?
No.
Up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, start.
I knew that.
It's also 2 up, 2 down, left, right, PA start. Okay, so Contra
I knew that.
definitely on our list. So another game that they showed that very interested in comes out
I don't care about it.
July 1920 this year. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3: The Black Order.
I don't care about it.
I thought you wanted to be Venom.
Venom's not in it.
Yes, he is.
He's not in the trailer then.
Yes, he was. And if you would have watched the Treehouse with me, you would have seen them play as Venom. One thing that I really like is that they
Spoilers,
went.
but I didn't see Venom in that
They
trailer.
went to the old style of how they look in the comic books. I like that addition.
I'm
You
just
see,
surprised that Miles made after all. He's a new character.
well, you see Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. The Infinity Stones make a huge, they're a huge part of the story. It's completely different than the movie. This is actually a new story with the Infinity Stones, but they huge role in this. Deadpool's in here, and Deadpool's hilarious with what he does. But as you go on, you unlock these.
Deadpool, Marvel.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
But
Hallelujah.
as
Hallelujah.
you progress through the game, you unlock all of these characters, and then you can utilize them. So definitely another one that's big. Nintendo's got a huge amount of games coming out this year. So later in about mid to late July, this should hit.
They're not bringing out Minecraft though.
Yes, they are.
Hallelujah.
So Ultimate Alliance 3 Black Order, definitely check it out. Okay, so the last Zelda that they talked about was Cadence of Hyrule, Crypt of the Necromancer,
Kryptonite to
featuring
me.
The Legend of Zelda. June 13th, 2019, so it's actually already out. This one is if you haven't played a Crypt of the Necrodancer game before, it's a rhythm game. So you move to the rhythm, you fight to the rhythm.
It's
Enemies,
very annoying.
well, enemies move and fight also to the rhythm. If you hit the beats, you actually get score multipliers, power multipliers.
What if you don't?
Well, then you don't get any of that. So your multiplier stops. It's multiple player. It's definitely
It's a multiplier.
it multiplies. Hence the term multiplier.
I don't get it.
Then you have problems.
What's a multiplier?
So Cadence of Hyrule, definitely an interesting game. Completely different than
Why is there
anything
smoke
we've
coming
seen.
from a ukulele?
Because that's the logo that they chose. Don't know, we'll probably see
Why
it in
is
the game.
Ukulele broken.
It's not broken.
The
So
top.
we will
Snapped.
definitely, probably I'll get this because it's Zelda, but very unusual game. You can go on and download it now. It is a indie game. This is the first indie Zelda game ever made. So it's worth checking
It's like
out.
an MRG.
MRG. What's an MRG?
An 8-bit. Everything's square.
Okay, I don't get that, but
Sure.
um,
Now
Definitely-
now the one that doesn't get it is you.
because 8-bit is 8-bit. It's not MRG. It's 8-bit.
Shush.
So, Cadence of Hyrule,
MRG.
worth checking out. So the other thing they announced was some Smash Brothers characters. They did Dragon Quest characters, which when we were first watching it, we were kind of, well, joy, we weren't really wanting this. But then, midway through the treehouse, they announced kind of what everyone was expecting. So you were you were thinking the same lines. They did make you think it was the Duck Hunt dog, which is already in there, but it ended up being Banjo-Kazooie, which a lot of people.
I wasn't thinking it was the stupid dog.
What? What were you thinking?
I was thinking it was a piece of grass.
How would you fight as a piece of grass?
It can't be hurt.
Yeah, you can, a lawnmower.
Oh. The reason why I call the dog stupid is because it mocks you.
Yes, the duck hunt dog does mock you. But
Stop
everyone
mocking me, duck hunt
everyone
dog.
was begging for Banjo-Kazooie. There are 2 more characters that they haven't announced yet that they will later
Yes,
on.
it's called a computer and a TV.
Well, no one... There's been some rumors. I'm kind of thinking Double Dragon might be in there. So you have Billy and Jimmy.
And a TV.
A lot of people are saying, well, Full Core from Killer Instinct, or someone said Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. I seriously doubt that. Because the gore that's in that, not really a Smash Brothers thing. Another Street Fighter
Maybe
character.
Darth Vader. Oh, wait.
I doubt you'll see Star Wars in there. It would be neat, but I doubt you'll see Star Wars in there.
Mega Man's already in there.
Mega Man's
Wait,
already
no,
in
he
there.
Isn't. Well, yes, he is.
So
Detective Pikachu?
there are a bunch of amiibos, Pokemon amiibos.
Stop Mario making the peace sign. You're my
that
nemesis.
are going to be released. I would like it to be Double Dragon, because then one could be
I
an
would like
Echo
it
character.
to be
Contra is another
the Divine
possibility.
Beast guys.
It's not going to be from a franchise that's already in the game, though. So that's why I'm thinking Double Dragon or Contra, because those franchises aren't in the game.
Mickey Mouse?
Could be. Who knows?
And his brother Oswald, long lost brother, peace out.
Who knows? But that was a neat
Hallelujah if it is.
neat
Wait,
surprise.
Bendy.
I doubt it.
In Five Nights at Freddy's?
No.
Jason?
So they did.
Freddy Cougar? Chucky?
You would like. There's a game called Terror Dome. That's a Mortal Kombat, but with Jason Voorhees and Reanimator and Ash from Evil Dead. But
Oh, I thought you were talking about Ash Ketchum.
so
This is where we should put in the theme song, Gotta Catch 'Em All.
the other things that they debuted that we'll kind of real quick talk about. Fire Emblem. You were interested in that. They did an Animal Crossing, but not big on Animal Crossing. Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, which you said you were fairly interested in.
I didn't say it was fairly, I said it was barely.
Barely interested in.
Get it right.
Pretty sure that they're going to do the Nintendo, the NES
Something
Joy-Cons that they made for the NES games. I'm pretty sure they're going to do Super
Why?
Nintendo pretty soon.
Why must you move forward?
But
So
the
expect
other
me to
thing,
pet you?
so 2 more things that are non-Nintendo related
Stop
were
moving
announced.
forward and expecting me to pet you, Hermione.
There's another mini
Hermione
console
Granger.
coming out. Konami announced a TurboGrafx 16 Mini and a PC Engine Mini. Unfortunately, it's good to get both of them because the PC Engine one has the Castlevania Rondo of Blood on it, and the TurboGrafx does not. So that was announced, and probably it won the E3 award for best hardware, Polymega.
Whoa.
So it's a really, really good emulator. It's better than Retron 5 or anything Hyperkin has, if it does what Polymega is saying it will do. It can do PlayStation. They haven't announced N64 yet, but NES, Super NES, TurboGrafx 16, Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, Sega Master System, and
Sega Rocket.
they've got a
Sega Wall. Sega Straw.
a zapper.
Sorry for stopping, Hermione.
They've got a zapper that's coming out that will work on HD LED TVs.
And then they got Pac-Man.
So you'll be able to play Duck Hunt again. You'll be able to play Hogan's Alley, Lethal Enforcers that's on Sega Genesis, Police Trainer, all of these light gun
Come over
games
here if
that
you
you
wanna
can never
be petted.
play. Now you're going to be able to play them with this
Okay,
this
you got me.
Polymega Zapper.
The doll eyes
I
did
think they said that it's gonna be around 20 or 30. But definitely I would go to polymega.com, check out that console, and it's They've got a bundle package. Pre-orders, I believe, are still going on. They're saying it's supposed to ship sometime in August. But could be the best
Want me to pet you?
retro third-party console around, because it's completely modular. So say they decide to do an N64, well, you just buy the module, the base unit, which is the CD unit, is already set up. So it's a lot cheaper that way.
Oh, no.
Birkin did announce a N64 clone console, so they are going the N64 route. But it'll be interesting. But Polymega, I believe, is going to be your next top clone console. So that's our E3 review. Hope you liked it.
Too much information.
Well,
I'm gonna die
E3's
from
got a lot of
information.
stuff that they cram into it. So let us know
I'm
what you
making
think.
someone happy.
Let us know about your Breath of the Wild to see what if you agree
Maybe
with us.
join the channel.
If you have different opinions, but please subscribe. We've got some other things coming on. Next month
And
is
the-
Zelda month.
In the future, we might be able to get merch.
But
Make
next-
merch. This boy thing is turning out to be a mess because all of it's coming down. You know what? I give up.
Next month, though, is Zelda month. We will
Goodbye,
probably,
camouflage hat.
we'll
Hello,
probably
Hermione.
start a,
Hello, world. I'm back.
We'll probably start a
My hair's a bigger mess than it was.
timeline, a legend, like we were doing with Legend of Castlevania. We'll
Why
do it
is Peach
for
number 3?
what?
Number 3.
I don't know. We'll probably do it for Zelda. But we'll start it off, which unfortunately the first one will be Skyward Sword. So we'll go through that, and we're going to go really back in the past. I'm going to start going through these consoles, some games I haven't played in a long time. I'm going to have Texas Cat here try one of my favorite Atari 2600 games soon.
Excuse me? Why me?
River Raid,
Why me?
because you haven't played it before.
I was expecting you to hit me.
So, see, she hasn't played Atari hardly at all.
And if you have any art, please share with me because I need some ideas. I'm running out of them.
River Raid.
Ow.
And
I need some ideas of how to draw again.
in the
I
next
suck.
in the next month is Classic Game Fest in Austin, Texas. Last weekend in July. We'll be down there. We'll probably film some like we did Retro Palooza.
Okay, I'll start back up on the petting even though you move around too much, Hermione.
So it's hoping to finish my SNES collection while we're there.
You see me moving around a lot, it's just because I'm trying to
It's
keep
really
up with her 'cause she wants me to
inexpensive. You can go to any classic or any Game Over video game store, buy the wristband. It's $20 for 2 days, or you can do it.
We're always
at
at
the
Classic
door.
Game Fest for the first 2 days.
Yep. So it's at Palmer Event Center. It's definitely the best Game Fest I've been to that's in Texas. So that's our E3. We got River Raid coming up next month, Zelda month. So we'll start our. I'll have to come up with a different. You can't say Legend of Zelda like I did Legend of Castlevania. We'll have to do something different, like History of Legend of Zelda or something. So we'll start going through those.
Legends on the plot line.
Well, this one's going to be confusing because Zelda branches in 3 different timelines. So we'll have to choose a branch after Ocarina
You mean
of
just
Time.
like FNAF 4 and FNAF 6 location happens at the exact same time?
Sure. So
I can talk.
we'll start with Skyward Sword. Unfortunately, my least favorite one. We will not include.
How dare you not like it? Because
we-
I'm farther than you.
Actually, we're at the same spot now.
You played it recently?
Yes.
Oh.
So.
I'm no longer the champion.
No,
I never was champion.
You're funny. So, hope you
Ow!
liked it. Subscribe. Let us know your ideas to Breath of the Wild 2.
Send me some art!
Is there anything else before I close that you want to talk about?
Finding routes to Chipotle.
She really wants to play River Raid. See, she cannot stand it. She really wants to play it now. River Raid, River Raid, River Raid, River Raid. We will see you next time.
Chipotle!